and we had not factored that in. That was something else that we had to learn because it was just like, oh, this is a no-brainer. They connect, they see better offers.
Uh-huh.
And then the data started rolling in and it was just like, oh wow, they're actually users are not seeing anything different. So what do we do?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pulse of Tech podcast, where we have insightful conversations about building digital products, brands, and teams, as well as explore the challenges in the tech industry. As always, this is Lady Adeniyi. I'm your host, and I'm super excited that you're here today listening to us speak. Today, joining us, we have the remarkable Oyindamola Ajibike, also known as Mystic Dami. She's a product designer and UK Global Tech Talent alumni based in London, England. Her design conviction is based on designing global aware products and simplifying user experiences. She has designed across industries and currently works at the heart of finance. Historically, she's worked with Stairs, Andela, ClearScore, and also she co founded Design Chics, which is a non-profit. So yeah, welcome to the show, Indamala. How you doing?
Hello, hi lady, hi everyone. Super excited to be here to talk about tech and digital products in general.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Glad to have you here. So we are going to be talking about product design in open banking for finance. But before we go into the meat of things, Oyindamala, please share a bit of your journey with us. Just to let the audience know you a little bit better.
Hello everyone. My name is Oyindamola Ajibike, and I'm a product designer. Ibadan born, Lagos raised, Nigerian in general, and I'm a product designer, like Lady said. I studied computer science in university, and I was just there battling the code for a couple of years. But at the end of my course, I knew I wasn't going to code for a living because I really don't know how software engineers do it. We like write all the long lines of code, and something as basic as a comma is the reason why the code is not working. But I just knew I wasn't going to like do that for like a long time, and I sort of explored other options that still revolved around products, and that was sort of like how I found myself in product design. There was a bit of creativity that I'd explored when I was in university, like just graphics design, but not on a commercial level. But it was just something I enjoyed, and that sort of made it easy for me to like transition into product design. And since then, I've pretty much been designing products, to be honest, across different devices and areas. I've designed for accounting. That was like the first company I worked with. So I did a bit of loans management in there. Then from there, I moved on to Stairs. Stairs is more or less the Bloomberg for Africa, and that was like a lot of data design and information. In that area, I designed the first election database, which was for Stairs election, and that really helped to sort of like just collate the results for the election for the most recent one that happened in Nigeria. And aside from that, I've worked a bit with Andela as well. But currently I work in the art of finance with ClearScore, just designing products that are related to helping people assess better financial and credit options.
Okay, that's amazing. Designing the first election database. I was always on the Stairs app during the election, looking at all the data. I think what she did was amazing, right?
It was quite a learning curve to say the least, because as product designers in general, I'll say it's always a nice challenge when you get to work on something that is like a different area, but that product was something entirely different because there was nothing to even compare. There was nothing to use for research. I had like little to no material. It was more or less like just having to like build it up from scratch and really improve the experience, trying to figure out the best way to make the map experience interactive to show the different parties And my God, there are so many political parties in Nigeria, even the ones that you've
Yep.
never heard of. But
Yeah.
somehow, they always have a candidate, and you need to like design and factor that in as well. And then all the thousands of local governments, it was like an
Yeah.
actual challenge
Yeah.
designing the nitty gritty of that. Yeah, I learned so much on how to like display information like during that period. I'd say to today, yeah, that was probably like the most challenging product I've ever had to design.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, designing screens, basic user flows is one thing, but having to pull data together, make sure that it makes
Mhm.
sense on another
Yep,
hand, especially when you're dealing with a lot of data, it's yeah, it could be a lot. Well done, well done.
yep.
So yeah, let's get right into the topic of open banking. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what open banking is. Can you give a basic explanation of what it is and how it differs from traditional banks?
So, essentially, open banking, I'll say it's still like a very novel concept because it's a different aspect of technology that most people are still like trying to get into. In the sense that we are used to the traditional banking system, which is pretty much the one that revolves around all the everyday regular banks that we use. So, say I have GTB, I have Fidelity Bank. These are like regular day banks, or maybe just like general banks like Barclays. These are banks that they have like actual physical branches, and whatever information that you have in that bank is restricted to just the information that you have with that bank. So if I have an account in GTB, I have an account in Fidelity, they don't really like have any correlation. What GTB is saying is different from what Fidelity Bank is saying, and that sort of like just stays in that way. So it's more or less like a silo. But when we talk about open banking, I sort of like think about it like, oh, there's a gate which these traditional banks have put in place that sort of like stops other banks from being able to like access their data. But open banking comes into place, and then it just allows that gate to be opened. So the information can sort of like flow back and forth. And this way, if I have like a GT bank account and then my Fidelity bank account is also there, I'm able to sort of like get the data between these two banks to interact in a way, sort of like allowing me to access and to sort of like be able to like compile all this information into one single place and maybe share it with third parties. And this could allow the third party to be able to like get a better overview of, oh, this is what this person's financial statement looks like, or this is how this person sort of like just spends money, this is how this person saves. And it just allows them to really have a better understanding of what my financial standing is across all my accounts. So I'll say primarily the difference is traditional banking limits the information that you have to just the particular bank that you are using it with. But with open banking, you are able to sort of like share the information across all your accounts to either third party providers, or they're just able to like get every single financial details that relates to you, regardless of what bank the information is coming from.
Hmm. That's very interesting, and it actually makes sense, right? Because a lot of products coming out these days they require on a lot of user personal information, especially loan products.
Yeah.
They want to see how you've been spending your money,
Mhm.
to see if you're able to make proper repayments, to be able to determine your credit score as well, and for other things like that. But I guess where my curiosity is piqued is, where does a product designer come into this kind of problem?
Okay. Yeah, that is quite an interesting question. I would say with the way open banking is set up, essentially because it is primarily tied to the application or sort of like the website that users have to interact with. Because this data, it's not something that the users can see with their eyes or they can touch. It's more or less like something that is sitting in a database somewhere. And for the product to be able to like get access to that database, there needs to be like an interface that is sort of like pulling that information or sending the request, or the users are able to sort of like just approve or decline that connection. And the way that sort of works is, if I am trying to like maybe use a loan product, like you said, and the loan product is telling me, oh, because you want to like get a loan or something, we need to see your data or your transaction history from the last 6 months. I don't need to go and print my document because that's very traditional again. Open banking gives me the sort of like opportunity to just connect my bank account, and I can connect my bank account to that product. Then they are able to sort of like see that 6 months transaction history, and they can tell, oh yeah, you know what, yes, you have like a fantastic history, so we trust you and we can give you the loan. But for me to be able to like provide that connection or that consent for them to get that data, there needs to be like a screen, there needs to be like a user flow that makes that happen. So that is sort of where a product designer comes into play. The fact that you actually need to design that user flow. So when a user is coming to make use of open banking, or they're trying to like connect accounts within a product to another product, what exactly are they seeing? What are they not seeing? What is the best way for us to communicate what is happening? Because again, a lot of people don't understand what open banking is. I think sometimes the mathematics or the logic that happens behind the scene is something that most people think is probably just magic, because you're like, oh, I'm just clicking on connect and then they can see all this information that I'm providing them. But how do you explain that to the average user? That is also like part of the user experience that we need to like really structure out as a product designer. The fact that the user needs to understand what is happening at this point when they are linking their account, and after the account has been linked, what exactly is happening. If it's successful, what do we show them? If it's not successful, what do we show them? Okay, if it's not successful, are we recommending another alternative, or what exactly are we getting the user to like do next? So there's a whole process attached to the user flow of how this connection process works when users like trying to initiate the open banking flow from one product to another product. And in the case where it's sort of like reconnecting, because if I want to like connect my bank account, in different banks have different processes that they require a user to like follow. For some, they might direct you to their app. For some, they might direct you to their website. For some, they might ask you to like dial like a USSD code. So as product designers, it's also important for us to like be able to like design very peculiar use cases that target all this experience, and sort of like be able to break it down in a way that makes it easy for users to be able to like use whichever medium and actually understand what is happening, and be able to like carry out whatever action it is successfully.
Interesting. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for for you to have user flows for situations like this. I mean, first time I experienced open banking, I was building like a loan connection product, for lack of better words, and I needed users to be able to connect their banks so we could see some of their spending habits, and we could run that through an AI to then give us like a credit score, right?
Yeah.
Um, One thing I realized was a lot of users were freaking out. Like, why am I giving you access to all this?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to log into my banking app, or why do I have to log into my bank on your platform? Stuff
Yeah.
like that. It brings up a lot of security concerns.
Yeah.
Some people were freaking out. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that a product designer can come in there, do some research, talk to some of the users, figure out a way to make sure that flow is as comfortable and stress free as possible, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's amazing. Yeah, next question I have in mind. Um, what are some of the challenges you faced when designing products for open banking? So you could go
Yeah.
into like examples, right?
Okay. I'll say the first one still sort of ties back to what you literally just said now. The fact that the data part, users don't really understand what is happening at the point of the connecting, because I have conducted a user research recently. We were supposed to be like a test for an open banking functionality within the product, and what we primarily did was sort of like just had a card within the flow to prompt a user to connect their account, and the CTA we put there was like, oh, if you connect your account, you can probably see like better offers. And some people understood what that meant because the English was very easy to like decode, because the way we phrased it was more like, oh, this is the benefit you get when you connect your account. But a different variation of the user test that we conducted, which wasn't like a very simplistic would I say grammar, they were just like, yeah, a lot of people were skipping through it because they didn't understand what exactly was supposed to happen or why they should even connect their account to see anything. So I'll say the basic challenge first would be that understanding that users might not have regarding what the product is. So user education and trust is something that is like a big problem. In general, when it comes to finances, but when it comes to designing for finance products, because trust is something that is like very huge. When a user is putting their money within your product, they just are in that position where they're like, if my money should vanish, I need to know where your office is so I can come and fight. I need to know who I'm supposed to report to and things like that. But that trust is something that is still like a problem. And if they're not familiar with a concept that you're adding into the product, it just makes it hard for them to even want to make use of it. Then I'll say the second part is the data privacy aspect of it. Because open banking revolves around like sharing financial data, some users are always just concerned like, what exactly are you doing with my data? So again, there needs to be that transparency upfront, and this is part of the things that we also try to like put in the consent flow before a user even clicks on, oh yes, link my accounts. We try to like put a breakdown like, this is the information that we're going to be collecting from you, this is how we're going to use the information. If we're seeing your payment or sort of like the bills or places that you buy things from, we are trying to understand that you are not participating in like certain acts, because generally people frown on the products. Ideally, financial products have rules against gambling, they have rules against like some certain activities, and if this is showing up on your transaction history, then this is sort of like things that they try to look out for again to help you determine whether you are eligible for some things or not. So we try to like communicate that upfront with the design as well, like these are the things that we're going to be getting from you, and this is how we're going to be using the data that we're getting. So if a user doesn't understand that, or if we are not transparent with that at the points that we are designing the product, this might just make them feel like unsafe about the data that they are sharing. So this requires having to like design very intuitive consent flows. You need to explain the permissions clearly, and in fact you might need to like put in things like two-factor authentication in place, because it's more or less like if you're providing consent for something, yes, you need to be able to like reconsent as many times as possible. Something that we currently do right now is generally, if you are even connecting your account to open banking, after like 90 days you need to reconsent again, so that way if you don't want to share access to your data anymore, you can simply not reconnect your account. But after every 90 days, you actually do need to like provide that consent again to the product, so that we are able to like keep seeing your information. So those are some of the things that we try to like communicate up front and let the user know that, yeah, you have access to this thing, these are the things that you can do and these are the things that you cannot do, this is what we need from you, and this is what the permission for the product is going to be like, this is what the consent is going to give you. And I say in general, um there's a complexity that the open banking flow definitely has, because again, we're integrating data from multiple sources, so just being able to like put all these things in a way that it feels seamless is the major challenge that I'll say a product designer would have when they are designing for um open banking. I said the final challenge that product designers might have when designing for open banking would be just compiling all the different data points and putting it in a position where it's easy for the user to understand. because the data might be coming from different banks and different financial institutions. It's super important to make sure that everything is consistent and it's sort of like accurate across platforms. So as designers, we need to ensure that we are designing to address potential inconsistencies and sort of like just provide ways for users to be able to like resolve any issues that might arise at any point of the user journey. So for example, designing in that concept, right? Something that I've experienced while designing the flow for the open banking was there's some banks that actually don't allow you to like relink multiple accounts. You either have to do it like one by one. And one thing that we are trying to like solve for in the product was like, oh, we had a new function that can allow a user to relink three, four accounts at the same time. But it works for some banks and it doesn't work for some banks. And some banks will just tell you like, no, you need to like do it one by one. That is like a bit annoying, but it's like an edge case that just makes the user journey more complicated. And in that case, like design one by one, factoring in that, oh, this bank or in particular, they will not allow you to like do the multiple linking. And these are things that you just need to bear in mind as a product designer, that one solution might not work for everything, or one user journey might not be the ideal approach. You need to factor in having multiple journeys that actually tackle whatever edge case or whatever inconsistency might occur during the whole process of creating designs for open banking.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that you say that because there's with any integration work when you're integrating with multiple companies, there's always going to be API challenges or API drawbacks.
Yep,
This particular partner has this, but the other partner is not there yet, and your users have to move on, right? And it still has to work for your users. So finding ways around that is super important. One of the things you said that I really found interesting was, you know, obviously transparency is a huge thing, right? And you have to design a very intuitive consent flow.
yep,
What you said about providing your consent again after 90 days, that's something I actually haven't thought about, and I think
hmm,
that's the kind of feature that you put into a product like this that would give me peace of mind
yeah,
personally, because I'm like, okay, if I'm giving this company access to my data and I'm giving this other company access to my data and this other company yada yada yada, like, it's they're not telling me when they would stop accessing my data, you know.
that's true. Yep,
Like, how do I know that somebody on the high level in the company is not just logging into some dashboard somewhere and just looking at my spending habits? Yeah, like sometimes you might feel like you're being exposed or something like that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, having to provide consent again, I think it gives me, um, as a user, right, it gives me some sort of peace of mind to know that, okay, these guys would not have this data forever, right? After
forever
90
and ever.
days, yeah, forever and ever and ever, you know. They are telling me what they are using it for, every single thing I need to know, you know. Then it makes sense that that way people are a bit more comfortable, you know,
Yeah,
providing consent, right? And your product grows even more. And yeah,
yeah,
this stuff like this is like the superpower that product designers have that a lot of people don't realize, because
yeah,
it's not even something I even thought of. It seems so simple, right?
yeah.
Like a very simple
It
thing.
is.
But yeah,
It does seem like it's very simple, but it's just something
yeah,
that we need to put in place. Because again,
yeah.
I think at the heart of what we do as product designers, we always need to like prioritize the user and put them in a position where they have like this understanding and I'll say peace of mind around the way we are handling their data. And this sort of like brings me to the part of regulatory requirements, because this is also something that comes hand in
Mm,
hand with product design,
yeah, this
especially
is
in
a
the
big
finance
topic.
sector. Yeah. So in regards to that, I'd say different countries have like different setup around data protection laws and data protection regulation, and compliance is one part of designing for open banking that is like super important as well, because if you're collecting all this personal data, um as designers you also need to sort of like I said earlier, incorporate that consent flow. Users should be able to like opt in, opt out, or they should have like control over what exactly they are giving out. And then we try to like spell it out to them clearly, like this is what we are doing with your data, and this is what we are using, this is what we are not using. So regulation comes into play in that regard. There's some certain things that you just can't touch or you just can't do because the laws are the laws, and the laws are put in place to protect the users, to protect the company as well. So in that case, that is something else that I would say that product designers need to be aware of if you're going to be designing for open finance or open banking in general. The data protection laws will always be there. So there's a certain limit to the things that you can do and a certain things that you cannot share, that you cannot collect. And you just need to always keep it in mind that that transparency and disclosure is something that needs to be there. So you need to spell everything out like plainly, so that later on in the future, your company is not getting a call from one authority somewhere that, oh, you're breaking data protection laws and you need to pay like millions and billions and billions of a particular currency to sort of like settle out of office. Because that's something that has happened like a lot of times in tech, and
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Because at that
just don't
point,
want
whose
to be
fault
like.
is it?
Exactly. They'll tell you like, oh, the user will say, when I saw this page, I did not see this thing on it. You did not tell me this.
Uh
And once
huh.
they take the screenshot, it's on you. If you did not put it there, then
Yeah,
there's no way you can expect them to be aware of it. That's literally the way it is. So you
yeah,
need to be as transparent as possible, and you need to like provide all that information, show them this is what we are
yeah.
doing, this is what we're doing, and it just really
And then
helps the user understand.
at the time, the designer might be saying, "Oh, I want my page to be super minimalist. I don't want to have
Yeah,
too much
yeah,
stuff."
true.
But yeah, you have to think of the specific context that you're designing for, and the countries that the products will be available in, the laws that apply to those specific countries as well. So the authorities are not calling your company, and it's your fault, right?
Exactly. No, you don't want to
Yeah,
be that guy. You do not want to be the guy that is bringing the
yeah, that's
law
bringing the
after your
company down.
company. Yeah.
Yeah, because some companies really like to point fingers.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Yeah. What other question comes to mind? Okay, so based on your experience, what are some of the lessons that you've learned from open banking initiatives, maybe initiatives that have failed in the past or initiatives that people are trying to create? So aside from the whole users are not trusting and
Yeah.
then you have to find your way around that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, one thing I would definitely say would be the benefit, because if you are asking users to sort of like connect to open banking or like get interested in open banking, there should be certain things that they are getting from it. And it's not just like you have access to their data and it's not really doing anything for them. I feel like it might be easy to sort of like be in that position where that happens, because we have had such an experience before, where it was more or less like just there were certain products that users were supposed to like get access to, and we're like, oh, if you're not seeing any product right now, if you connect to open banking and we have access to your data, it's possible that you might see better products based off the history that we get from your account. And it just happened that some people connected and nothing happened, like there was no difference. So in that case, it just felt like, oh, so what exactly is the point of me connecting to open banking if it's still pretty much the same thing that I'm going to see? In that situation, I mean, there's literally nothing you can do in that case. It's just more or less like, well, I mean, maybe the person's transaction hasn't really done anything to like impact anything when they connect their account. That's sort of like something I would say was low key a failure in that part, because the benefit was more or less like if you connect to open banking, yeah, you might see different things, but now I'm connected, I'm not seeing anything. There was a certain learning curve that we had to like attach from that. And I would say like a build up from that was more or less like even if you're not seeing better options or better something after you've connected, we had to put in place a different recommendation. So it's like, oh yeah, even when you're connected to open banking, if you're not seeing anything different or anything better, this is something else that you can do. And we had not factored that in at the initial stage
Yeah.
of creating the design.
Yeah.
That was something else that we had to learn because it was just like, oh, this is a no-brainer. They connect, they see better offers. And then the data started rolling in and it was just like, oh wow, they're actually users that are not seeing anything different. So what do we do in that case? And we had to just like bring in like a different approach of, oh yeah, if you're not seeing anything different, then give them a different recommendation on something else that they can do to improve their current standing. So that I would say was like a really good lesson for me because it was just something that was entirely different to like have to design for. We never imagined that was going to happen. Or maybe we did imagine it, but we just didn't think it was going to be like
Yeah.
the percentage that it was internally. And I'll say generally, I wouldn't say there've been like I wouldn't say there've been a lot of failed initiatives because again, open banking is very novel. I'd say open banking is the future if we're being honest, because there's just so much data that we can get access to that really tells a lot about a person's financial standing, and that can help them to like access so many things that they want to. Because if I've had a bank account for 5, 10 years, there should be some sort of benefits that I can get, or some sort of, I don't really know, something I can actually do with that. There should be something that I can get out of it. Maybe if it's for like a visa application, or maybe it's for like booking a flight or something. Because during visa application they say, oh yeah, go bring your bank, your transaction history for the last 6 months, yeah, and things like that. So if open banking is coming into play in that regard, I should be able to sort of like just link it up without having to like go and print 30 pages of all the money that I've been spending over the last 6 months. So those edge cases are something that I say they could be very successful if these companies are looking into it. It's not just tied into finance, if we're being honest. There are several areas that open banking can like get into and really boost. For example, bill payment as well. That's something that I find very useful with my banks. Like I am so quick to connect my bank account to any products if it's helping in that regard. So it's more or less like, oh yeah, because you paid your electricity bill on the 15th of last month, based on what we can see on your account, which you have connected, we are going to send you a reminder on the 15th of next month so you can pay it
Yeah.
and not miss
Like,
the payment.
oh
And
yeah,
I
I'll
just
come
think like
and pay
that's
your
so
electricity
cool.
bill.
Yeah. I mean, that is so cool. It's really cool. It's
Yeah,
just like, oh, yeah,
it
so
is.
I don't have to like set reminders or have it at the back of my mind because my app will come and tell me that, oh yeah, you paid your bill last month on this day. We think that you are getting close to that same day. So start getting ready to pay the bill again. And you can even go the extra mile of setting up like auto payments. So those are areas
Yeah.
that I think that open banking can really help user experience, can really help finance in general. Like they are
Yeah.
very, very important edge cases. We don't exactly have things like that set up in Nigeria, or would I say most financial products like right now? Because I would very much love my GT Bank app to be able to like do that. Where
Yeah.
I don't have to like go and be remember like having to like set a reminder to like pay bills or do this that, but
Yeah.
just because I've connected my account or they have access to my previous transaction history, they are able to like just automatically do that for me. So yeah, I see potential for open banking in that area, and it's something that can really help bill payments in particular. Very, very,
Yeah.
very important
I think
sector.
I think that would be really nice, to be honest. A lot of banking apps, of fintech apps right now, they would be texting you, "Oh, come and take loan, come and take loan." But
Yeah,
if you come from the point of, "Oh, you paid this bill at this time last month, like why haven't you paid it this time? Do you want a
yeah,
loan?"
mm-hmm,
You know, and there it's more actionable because they've sort of learned from your behavior. And
Yeah.
when you don't make the payment at that particular time in the month, it sort of feels like, this app is worried about me. They
Yeah.
just they won't take care of my needs. I mean, obviously, um, it benefits them because whatever terms that they have on their loan sheet, or whether it's end wage, or whatever they want to call it, right?
Yeah.
They
And
can
they keep you
always
coming
make
back.
money out of
Like
it.
you're not going
Yeah,
anywhere. You are going to keep using that product.
yeah, exactly. Because you're like, nah, these guys really care about me. They know when I buy when I pay my electricity bills. They know when I pay this, when I pay that. They know when I pay for my subscriptions. If my card fails or fails
Hmm.
to charge for a specific subscription, or maybe you're paying for Figma, and Figma price has gone up, and they realize that Figma is trying to charge you a specific amount.
Yeah.
They can always suggest you can always suggest stuff like, oh, we noticed that
Yeah.
you did not plan to pay this amount. We can cover it for you. You pay back at the end of the month with
Exactly.
X amount of interest. It's like a super. Yeah, the future is bright. That's all I can say.
I definitely agree. Like
Yeah,
I so agree. It's just
yeah,
pretty straightforward. Like data will
yeah,
change the world.
yeah. With the right minds, the right designers,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's important. This conversation we're having is actually very important because a lot of designers haven't been able to see past the pixel pushing phase.
Yeah.
They need Everyone needs to start getting into that thinking strategically phase,
Yeah.
like what we just talked about now. I think it's going to be very insightful for a lot of people to just start to think in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many complexities to it. If we're being honest, that goes just like beyond the pixel pushing parts. But like you said, with the right company, with the right products, with the right designers, with the right engineers, the future is
100%.
definitely bright. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be productive to push out some of these things and just make it happen. Because again, an
Yeah.
idea is just like an idea until the execution actually happens. And I'm just trying to think about what was the very first person that thought about, oh, what if we have open banking? But now it's
It's a
become some,
crazy idea.
yeah,
It's a crazy idea. Banks don't like to share. Like,
they do not.
how did they
Like
pull it off?
well, you know what I said at the beginning? Like it's more or less like a gate. They've built up a fence around
Hmm.
themselves. Like, no, the data that this person has in our bank, we are never letting it go. Nobody is going
Never.
to have access to this. And open banking is just there, like, you know what, you can open that gate just a little bit
Hmm.
and give us some of
Yeah,
your data
just
and see what we
just
can
see
do.
just see the benefits. Yeah, they
Yeah,
just have to show them the benefits.
yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
I think that's amazing. I have one more question.
Okay.
I feel like we've touched on it a little bit, but before we go there, we're just going to take some rapid fire questions now, so so the audience can get to know you a bit better.
Okay.
So yeah, which one? Oh man, I really need to get new questions. Shy. I feel like I'm just recycling them at this point. Okay. Are you a tea or a coffee person?
See, I don't like coffee. Coffee makes my body shake. The only time I ever have to drink coffee is if I'm at the point of desperation and I need that energy flowing. But on a normal day, yeah, I would definitely take tea over coffee.
Oh yeah, it's the caffeine.
Yeah.
There's that tingly feeling. I'm actually feeling it right now. Yeah, because I was wondering, you were asking me like, oh, why are you taking
Why are you
coffee at
drinking
this
coffee at
time?
this time?
Yeah,
I am so serious. Yeah, because I'm just a tea person. I love teas. I love the teas in different flavors. Hibiscus tea, raspberry tea, bring everything. Bring.
yeah. I actually like raspberry tea as well. From Twinings, I think.
Yeah, twinings.
Yeah,
Twinings raspberry tea is so good.
yeah, it's amazing. Okay, next question. Next question. Dark mode or light mode? This is an
Dark
interesting one.
mode all the way because I
Team
used to
dark
be
mode.
previously blind. And then having the light everywhere used to affect my eyes so badly. Now I'm just permanently on dark mode everywhere because it minimizes the light. Like, please,
Oh
I don't need
yeah,
all that light in my face.
100%. I agree. I agree with you. I feel like people that use lights mode, especially at night, I feel like they are criminals, or they could be criminals. Like, why that light shining in your face so brightly, and you're so comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, are you a morning or a night person?
I am not a morning person. I am a night person.
Okay, okay, nice. Um, iPhone, iPhone or Android?
iPhone. I used to be an Android person, but the Apple ecosystem already has me locked in, and the way all my devices work together, they have me. I don't think I can break out of it. It's just crazy because you have your MacBook, your phone, and then your watch is there, and everything is just like connected. If
Oh
you're
yeah,
getting a call, your your watch is ringing, your laptop is ringing. The first time that happened, I was so mind blown. Like, wow, okay, so that means like I could use any of my devices without having to like sign in or out of the other one. And Android hasn't really like act that yet, so I'm
yeah.
stuck
I mean,
with iOS
the
still.
ecosystem in itself is like a killer feature.
Yeah,
I mean, Android has its own ecosystem, but the way MacBooks have dominated, iPads have dominated, you just have to start using an iPhone as well. So yeah,
yeah.
they have you locked in. But yeah, team Android, yes, still team Android. All right. Do you prefer to stay at home and chill, or just go out and hang out with friends?
That is an interesting one. I'd say I'm in the middle of that. It depends on what day it is. Usually I like to stay at home, but I like to go out and chill with friends too. But that would definitely be maybe on like a Friday or on a Saturday or Sunday. Any of those days, once it's the weekend, yes, I want to go out and chill with friends. But during the week, I'm more of a homebody.
Nice. It's a nice middle ground to have actually.
Yeah.
Calling or texting, which one do you prefer?
Texting, but I will take calls from certain people.
What do you mean certain people?
Because it's just like I don't
only
know.
only certain people.
Well, maybe my close friends. Yeah, my close friends definitely. I'll pick calls from them. Cause what's it called? There's not that I feel like calls can be very high pressure. In the sense
Oh
that
yeah,
if you're on a
hundred
call, you need
percent.
to like think about the conversation. You need to keep the conversation going, and then it's so easy to I don't know say something wrong or maybe not say something wrong, but you just like need to like keep the conversation going, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
But if you're texting sort of gives you the opportunity to like really think before you reply, and it's just like a less pressure. It has like less pressure when you are texting, really. But with calls give me anxiety because you never know what the person is calling
yeah. You
for
never
or
know what they're saying.
conversation will go. Yeah,
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm also a texting person as well, because the calls, like you said, high pressure. And sometimes I'm just doing things that took me some time to will myself to do, and then phone calls just break me out of my flow entirely. Especially when I'm coding, or I'm trying to think of something or a flow.
hmm
But yeah, thank you. So final question. There's actually two questions, though, but we've sort of answered one. The future of
yeah,
open banking. I think we've covered that a lot. But is there
yeah,
anything else you would like to add? We talked about some of the benefits, the bill payments, the um, connecting to all these different sources, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
For
being able
visa
to make
applications and all that.
decisions. yeah, visa applications, being able to make decisions and better targeted marketing
Yeah,
and
yeah,
inbound
true.
marketing for people. Was there any other thing you would like to add?
Yeah, I'll say in general, open banking it has like a lot of potentials, definitely. And as product designers, if you're listening and that's sort of like an area that you think that you would find interesting, I think it's an area that a lot of people should actually just even if you're not diving into it, but read up on it and get into it if you could. If you are keen on finance, I'd say that's an area that you should really get into and learn more about. If you're just a junior person starting out, it's an area that you can really dive into. Even as a senior, the future of open banking is something that is really going to like change the way finance works, and I am super excited to see the way it's going to pan out over the next couple of years, and just what people are able to like do with that, because it's an area that I'm working in right now, and I get to learn so much really about how to really design user flow and experience for those products that are relating to open banking. But yeah, it's an area I feel everyone should really be keen on and excited about, and if you are into it, learn a bit more. But yeah, if you really do want to talk about it as well, you can always like sort of connect on LinkedIn or just reach out. We can talk about it. It's super exciting to have been here to just talk about this whole thing, because I say I learned a lot about open banking, but just hope this gives a
Hmm.
bit of insight into what it's about and just like demystify it in a way. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I learned a
that's
lot as well.
I'm super glad about that.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's great being here to like talk about it and share a bit about my background and generally just the work I'm doing as a product designer. But we do have a community as well for women in design, called Design Chics, which I co-founded with my friend Dima. And one area that we're trying to like really get into as well is sort of like educating and empowering women in design to sort of like be aware of all these trends, as well as just provide opportunities for growth for them. But yeah, if you are listening to this and you're a woman in design looking for a community to pretty much just be a part of, you can check us out on social media as well as just LinkedIn. We are more than happy to have you around and be a part of our
awesome.
community. But yeah, for every other person, keep being amazing, keep working in product design, keep creating cool products. Really, we need
Yeah,
fantastic product designers in this life. Every single time I think about the cool things that people are doing relating to digital product, it is so mind blowing and it makes me feel so proud, because product design has evolved so much over the years, and I feel like it's just going to keep evolving. We're going to keep getting into new terrains, new sectors, new areas will keep coming up, and I am just here for it. Like I'm mounting like Mason. I'm there. I mount.
yeah, awesome, awesome. Where can people reach out to you though? Like if they have additional questions, would you prefer LinkedIn, Twitter, and then
Yeah, I mean,
Design
I'm on
Checks?
LinkedIn. You can connect on LinkedIn, and my handle across social media is Mistake Dami. But I barely tweet anyway, or I'm barely on social media. But I mean, if you are about that, you like good movie recommendation and music, you can follow on social media too. But yeah, LinkedIn primarily, and you can always just like strike up a conversation around finance or just like open banking in general.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today, Mystic Dami.
Thank you. It's been so fun talking about this. But the questions, that's been like the most interesting part. Not even going to
Ye-
lie. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a very interesting topic for me as well because I've always been wondering. Okay, like I get the basic understanding of it, but I didn't really understand like what went into the whole thinking process, the
yeah,
flow creation, what customers felt, and things like that. So yeah, thank you so much. This has been amazing,
my
and
pleasure.
yeah, we should do this again sometime on another topic.
Fair enough. If you have me, I'll be more than happy to come back.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Have
Awesome.
an
Yeah.
amazing day.
Cheers. I'm going to have to take that part again because that is